What's up, everyone? Today I got a super easy project for you. After all, my name is the Rookie Woodworker, so I should throw around some rookie level projects every once in a while. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a Christmas tree. I'm going to cut this piece of wood into two pieces, make a half lap joint, and then carve it out into a Christmas tree, which is really simple. In fact, this project is so simple and so easy that even though I'm using my shop tools to make my tree, you can use these tools and end up with a tree that looks exactly like the tree I end up with at the end of this video. So if you're a person that has never cut into a piece of wood before in your life, don't be discouraged from trying this project just because you see me using big saws. This project is a really good first-time project for somebody who is getting ready to dabble in woodworking for the first time in their life. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm taking this 1x12 board and I'm cutting it into two 2-foot length pieces. So to cut out the half lap joint, I'm going to use a dado stack in my table saw. What you see me doing here is putting a reference mark on the fence, and I'm marking it with a piece of painter's tape to show me where the front of that blade is going to be cutting into these pieces. Then what I'll do is I'll mark the halfway point on these pieces, and then I'll line that mark up with this piece of tape whenever I actually make the cut. Now you really don't have to be as anal as I'm being with this. You can probably just cut a little bit beyond the halfway point and you'll never be able to tell the difference whenever it's sitting on a shelf somewhere. And then we'll just watch this thing eat. Then I'm going to use the bandsaw to clean out that extra material. Again, you can skip this whole step by pushing the dado blade all the way up to the line, and it'll clean out a little bit of extra material beyond the line, which will be fine because once you put this tree together, you won't even be able to see it. And then it slaps together like this. Slides right in there like a glove. Now let's get to cutting this into a tree shape. Now let's draw a tree pattern on this thing. For this, what I did was I went about 2 inches in from the top on both sides and put a dot, and then I took a line and drew from that dot down to the outer corners, and that's where the outsides of my branches will touch. And then what I did was I took a 1/4 inch piece of plywood and I cut a 45-degree point into that piece of plywood, and I used that as a stencil to draw my branches. You did not have to follow what I did here. You can do whatever you want. You can freehand it, draw the branches to look however you want. This is just how I did it. This is where you can let your creativity come into play here. And then from there I went to the bandsaw, and it was just as simple as cutting down all of the lines. You'll see at one point here where I run out of room between the bandsaw blade and the bandsaw's framework. So I ended up having to flip the piece over and then redraw the lines a little bit and then do the rest of the work on its back. So that's something to think about whenever you're using a bandsaw for this. But if you're using a handsaw, that's not going to be a problem for you at all. And now that that's cut out, you just use that as the stencil for the other piece. Or if you're making like 8 of these trees, you can use that as the stencil for the next 17 pieces. Just make sure your half lap slot is on the opposite end of the tree. Then proceed to chop it up. And this is what we end up with. At this point, it's perfectly acceptable to stop right here. Just sand your pencil lines off and put some finish on it or some paint, whatever you want to do with it. And just be done with this tree. But me, I'm going to add another little touch to this tree. What you see me doing here is I'm using a Dremel with a sandpaper drum on it to round off the tops of the branches. And I'm just rounding off the tops of the branches. I think it gives the tree a little bit more smoother of a look, a little more of a tree-ish of a look. You can achieve the same effect with a file like the one you see on the table right there. It just takes a little bit longer, but you can get the same effect with it. Alright, so as you can see here, some of these pieces had cracks in them and they went by the branches, so I didn't want these branches just end up falling off like after a season of having them. So I decided to touch them up and fill them up with some epoxy, and then I'll sand these off and then we'll slap some finish on it. Hopefully these things will last for many seasons to come. Now after sanding it down and spraying on some clear lacquer, this is what it looks like. If you do not like the polyurethane look, feel free to experiment with painting it whatever color you want. You paint it green, red, purple, whatever color. If you want to use a different type of wood like a walnut, that would look amazing too. And just like a normal Christmas tree, you can decorate this one with lights too. But as always, if you like that video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and go to my profile and check out some more videos. I have about 50 videos over there to check out. And if you have questions, concerns, some constructive criticism, hit the comments below. I do try to get to them. Sometimes it takes me a week or two, but I do overall try to get to all of the comments. Till next time, make something awesome.